Hello, everyone. And today I need to answer a bunch of questions concerning workshops. And also, I need to go ahead and bust some myths that people are talking about on the workshop videos and a lot of the comments that I get. And it deals with 1.8 economy being vastly different than anything we have seen before. Now, the natural dozen things that I talk about, such as villages being raided, caravans taking good, armies taking food, and of course, loyalty being low, is going to drastically affect your workshop. However, the question that I get the most is my shop is making no money. Why is that? This is what I'm going to go ahead and answer, and it deals in multiple parts because of the economy. For the most part, you can no longer just throw a shop in the game and it's going to make money. But wait, Rateau has a bunch of grain there. I can just throw a brewery in there and it's going to make a lot of money. That is a myth. It doesn't work that way in 1.8 anymore. Because of the way that the game is set up, there are a few things that you have to take into account when you are going to make a workshop. This is from the 1.8 economy patch notes, which was under a different thread. And there are two things I want to bring to your attention. Expenses for workshops are drastically increased, meaning that it is harder for you to make profit from a workshop. And why is that important? Workshop production only cycles in case of possible profit instead of always, meaning if you're not going to make profit, your workshop will not run. And if it doesn't run for a few days, you're going to go down to zero. There's no more of this always running and getting a little bit of profit until it kicks back in. It's not gonna run at all. So why is this happening and what can you do about it? This is something very important that people still do not realize. Every shop in Bannerlord is auto-generated randomly for every game you make. In this game, Poros has triple breweries. In this game, Poros has a silversmith, a smithy, and a workshop. So we've gone from 3 beer producing to 3 item producing in a completely different game. And it will be like this for every single game you make. This is why it is so important. What is being produced, not only in the town that you want to make it in, but also in the towns around it, are drastically going to affect what yours is going to be able to make. If you make beer here, it could be a great price. However, if we go over to Zayonica and they're also producing beer, then that means somebody right by you is going to be driving down the price as well. What that is going to do is affect the global economy. And that is how profit is going to be determined. What are people paying for? It's like supply and demand, like with the GPU market. There wasn't enough GPUs out on the market and everybody wanted them. The price shot up. Now, all of a sudden, the GPU market, they're making them again and the prices come down. It's the same way here. If you hover over an item, you can see the global average of the item. This item is 17% more expensive than the global average. But if there's a bunch of beer producing villages and I was to go ahead and change them right now, in about 50 days time span, this global average could drop down to 60, 65, even 55 because more beer is being produced. So when you're making a workshop, you can't just look at what this shop is producing. You also have to look at the shops of the surrounding towns to see whether or not they're producing it as well and what the global average is going to be. If every single one of these towns is producing beer, then everybody in the area is going to have cheap beer, meaning your beer is not going to be that expensive and caravans will not be picking it up. Armies might still buy it, but it's not going to be expensive. So you just cannot throw a workshop in a town and say, it's going to make money. Hey, I have 2 grain producing villages here. Let's just throw a brewery in there and it's going to make a bunch of money. If Poros, Jomeris, and Amitatis are also producing beer, then that is going to drive down the price in this area and the global average as well. So being able to know what the global average is and what yours is being produced for is going to help you determine whether or not it's going to be profitable. That is one reason why when you look at your shop, it might be making no money. So if you do plan on making a workshop, take time to visit the towns around the area to see what they're producing. If they're producing too much beer, you're not going to make that much as well. One thing I cannot stress enough is input output. We used to not have to worry about this pre 1.8. But when you take an input and output, which you will know when you make your shop, it'll tell you what it needs and what it will produce. For a brewery, it needs grain and it will produce beer. We can already see that grain is very cheap here, 30% cheaper than average. And beer is 17% more expensive than average. That tells us we have an excess of grain and we have very little beer in the area. This brewery should make good money. However, that doesn't mean that you let it go. After a while, this will produce enough beer that it will drop the price so much that you're not going to make a lot of profit. So when you get back to the area and you see it green, go ahead and buy it. It's going to help drive the price back up that you're going to be making more profit. Just take the goods, and if it's a consumable, you'll use it. If it's a non-consumable and it's green, take it and sell it someplace else where it's more expensive. That is going to allow you to make profit and trade skill off of this, and it's going to drive the price up. Also, make sure you're watching out for the input. We can see that it's 30% below average. However, if we were to buy all the grain, it now says it's near average, which means we won't make as much profit because they have to pay a higher price for the input. So you need to be very careful to watch out for the input and the output of a product. So if you follow these simple steps when you're about to make your workshop, it is going to make it much easier for you to make profit in your game. So follow these simple steps. Check your town for multiple shops. Check the area around your town to see if they're producing that good as well. Check the input and the output to make sure there's a good supply of input and not much output that is being produced. And then finally, check the global average. See whether or not you're above or below the global average in your town. You want to be below the global average on your input and above the global average on your output. If you go to your shop and hit change shop, it will tell you all the shops. You just use your mouse wheel to move. It tells you what the input and the output of everything is. Therefore, check the area and see if you have enough input and also how much it is in your town. If you follow these simple steps, you should be able to make profit. If you are not making profit consistently, then normally one of these 4 things is causing you to make zero money. Besides that, you still do have the normal things that come up with villages raided, not giving output, caravans taking stuff, armies coming through and taking all the consumables. You still do have that. There is a lot more that is complex in the economy now that affects more than what I have even mentioned. but I think I am trying to bring to you just the most important pieces for you to understand why you're not making money. I do not have these issues in any of my games because I follow these simple steps before I set up a workshop. And if I don't follow these steps, I'm going to know it when I'm making no money. So I hope this helped out. If it's still not clear, you can hit me up in Discord or leave a comment in the video, and I will try to explain it to you even more if you do not understand, or to help you out as to why maybe you're not able to make money in your workshop. So I hope this helps clear things up as to why some people make thousands a day and some make nothing. Until next time, my friends, take care and thanks for watching.